Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we're building Witchbrook Cottage. Now Witchbrook Cottage is a tiny little magical home for a supernatural sim. Now I did build this with either a witch or an alchemist in mind, but you can also move in a herbalist in here or maybe even just a regular sim who loves nature. This is an off-the-grid house, which basically means it's going to be fully functional if you have the off-the-grid lot trait. It's furnished for a single sim and their pet cat. If you do decide to move in a witch or a wizard in here, you should really make that pet cat into your familiar because I do believe they have certain benefits if you make them your familiar. But this build was actually named after the upcoming game Witchbrook, which was developed by Concerned Ape, the same guy who did Stardew Valley, one of my favorite games of all time, and it's going to be kind of like a Harry Potter inspired RPG with some crafting elements and some alchemy. I'm really excited for it. And I thought that that name was very appropriate for this place because literally right next to this lot there is a little babbling brook. So I thought, what better way to call this than Witchbrook? So for the exterior, I went for this cute little Tudor style with a thatched roof. I did look at some like English cottages online and I was really inspired. I thought that that was super appropriate for the look I was going for. I did build this in this 20 by 20 lot here in Windenburg. I thought about building it in Glimmerbrook, but none of the lots had this kind of like naturalistic setting, if you guys get what I mean. Like all of the lots have this like paved driveway, which really didn't match the look I was going for. I really like the dirt path that goes into this lot, and also I really love the natural surroundings in here because I really wanted kind of like a storybook fairy tale look that's like surrounded by forests and woods, and it's got all of these like little streams and waterfalls surrounding it. So that's why I decided to just go for this lot. So for the interior, I went for kind of like a Bohemian, something that's a little bit more worn out, something that's a little bit more shabby chic, I guess. I wanted it to look very like self-made and handcrafted, and I used a lot of like worn out textures and also light colors as well. So yeah, now that all of that's out of the way, I finally can talk about all of the struggles I had with this build. Those of you who follow me on Twitter probably already know this, but this build came so close to being scrapped. Basically, I lost most of the footage for this build. Until now, I still don't know how I lost all of the footage. I have a feeling that my computer just overwritten the folder I had it on, but basically I came to check the folder and literally 90% of all my recordings are gone. Like, I have no idea how it disappeared. So basically I was contemplating on just scrapping this build because I had no way to recover all of my lost files. I literally had no idea what to do. So after like sulking there for a day, wallowing in my own misery, I finally convinced myself to just re-record all of the things I lost because I thought that was, you know, a more practical solution. To be honest, I felt like that was going to take a lot less time and effort to just re-record all of the footage that I lost than to try to figure out how to recover all of my lost footage, because to be honest, I tried looking at online tutorials and none of them were working. I tried using recovery software, none of them were working. So basically, I just re-recorded myself rebuilding this from scratch, which you probably noticed because pretty much for most of this build you'll see no hesitation. Like, it's like just me knowing exactly where everything's gonna go, knowing exactly what to do. But to be honest, it took me like a third of the time to re-record and rebuild everything. It took me like 2 hours. Originally it took me like over 6 hours to build everything, but it took me 2 hours, and that is a lot less time than I probably would have spent trying to figure out how to recover, you know, all of the footage that I lost. Plus, I didn't want to spend all weekend trying to, you know, just come up with a solution for it. So I thought that that was the best course of action because I really wanted to put this build out. I didn't really want to waste this because it is such a nice house. So this is it. Hopefully you guys still enjoy it. Yeah. Towards the end though, most of the footage, especially of the landscaping, is my original attempt. And to be honest, the landscaping is probably one of my favorite aspects of this build anyway, so I'm really happy that I got to keep that in the end because that was literally the most tedious part anyway. But my other favorite part of this build would actually have to be the layout. That's the reason why the exterior of this build ended up, you know, being very basic because I wanted there to be like some sort of loft in the roof. I wanted the bedroom to kind of be in its own little level, and I thought that that was going to be really cute. I thought that was a perfect little bedroom for like a witch, so I really wanted to achieve that. That was quite a struggle as I was building this in my original recording, which unfortunately you didn't get to see because that involved a lot of trial and error and experimentation, but obviously since I lost all of the footage, it's all gone now. But to be honest, I just really wanted to get this build over and done with and move on to the next one, and I'm really happy that I decided to just push through with it in the end because I know that a lot of you would actually love this build because I love it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you would also really enjoy it as well. So here I am just furnishing the interior. I'm putting in some, you know, like actual crops. That is, I believe that is a mandrake, if I'm not mistaken, or like, I don't know, maybe a wolf's bane, I don't know. But yeah, most of the items I use are from Cats and Dogs Realm of Magic. I used a lot of Outdoor Retreat as well, and all of that good stuff. I did keep in mind that this was going to be an off-the-grid house, so I put a lot of candles in there. Basically, if you're furnishing something off the grid, you can go ahead and furnish it without the off-the-grid lot trait, and if you assign the lot trait as you're building, it'll actually turn off a lot of the lights that aren't functional with off-the-grid, so that's a good way to check. But yeah, I love the kitchen. It has like a little cauldron in the middle. I really wanted to put in a fireplace in there because I wanted there to be like a central fireplace area, but obviously because I did that split level thing, that wasn't possible, so I had to put the fireplace right next to the main entrance, which is a little bit unconventional, but I think it still works. It's kind of like a cute little sitting area. Plus I really love that split level aspect on the kitchen. Here I'm putting in some beams. I'm using, once again, the debug wooden pieces. I believe these are like originally intended to be fence pieces, but I really love the kitchen. It's one of my favorite, actually, like this is like one of my favorite builds. I'm not gonna lie, it's super detailed, but you know, I think everything just came together so well. Another one of my inspirations was a lot of the Studio Ghibli movies, specifically Kiki's Delivery Service and Howl's Moving Castle. Also, recently I watched this movie. It's not a Ghibli film, but I do believe it was inspired by it. It's called Mary and the Witch's Flower, and I thought that this house would be perfect for Mary, which is the main character for that movie. Basically, just a quick little overview of the storyline for that movie. Basically, Mary, she's a human. She goes into the woods and she finds a magical flower which gives her magical abilities, and then she travels to this like university for like witches, and basically she becomes like a star student because she's overpowered because she used that flower. So it's kind of like that. I love the art style of that movie. I really enjoyed it. It's like eye candy for people like me who enjoy anime and all of that stuff. I really love it. So I highly recommend you guys check it out. I think it's out on Netflix. I'm not sure. So yes, here we're furnishing this sitting area, and this is basically like a really large bay window area. I really wanted to work in that bay window seat, but it was made for a 3 tile wide area, but we had this 4 tile wide window, so I had to fill up the gaps with some counter cabinet pieces, which I think still worked. And once again, I'm putting in a lot of candles. I love that candle from like vampires, the one to the left. I really like the way it looks. It looks like a bird cage. So yeah, and of course this build had so many flowers. It had so many potted plants and flowers everywhere. Really happy that now we can access a lot of the by debug objects, because honestly they're some of the most beautiful objects in the game, and it's kind of a pity that they're all locked under this category, because they would be so awesome if we can just access them through regular build buy mode. But you know what, it is what it is. I'm just glad that we have access to them now, because look at it, it just makes a lot of difference. It really makes this build have so much more character, and I really enjoyed it. So basically what I wanted for the interior was something that was very it was practically like full of plants. Like every inch I wanted there to be potted plants everywhere, because the person living here just really loves nature. They don't really like being with other people. They don't really like being with the rest of society. They just really enjoy being by themselves and the company of their cats, and you know, being alone in nature. So I'm just filling in these like shelves with some other flowers and stuff. A lot of you guys have already seen a closer look of this on my social media, because I've been sharing a lot on my Twitter and on my Instagram. By the way, if you don't follow me, why? All of those are linked in the description, and you should really follow me because I post a lot of previews. Like, I feel like once I finish a build, I immediately like post it on Instagram and on the Twitter. So a lot of people who follow me on there really have an early look and an early peek at everything I'm working on. I also put this little broomstick in here. I just wanted it to have like a prominent place, so I put it like right next to the main entrance. Here we have a toilet and a sink. It's a really tight squeeze, but I did test out everything and everything works. So yeah, I love how this room has like touches of blue, like this blue faded paint. I really like it. I really like having it on all of the different furniture and plumbing fixtures. And yeah, basically I'm just continuing on with the Bohemian look. At this point, I took out most of the lights that aren't functional with Off the Grid. I did keep some of the ceiling lights that don't work with Off the Grid. They're just gonna turn off, but if you ever do decide to, you know, live here without Off the Grid, those lights will still be functional. So here we're working on the upstairs level. By the way, this is still me rebuilding everything from scratch. One thing that really bothers me is the fact that a lot of this wallpaper just doesn't line up. I really wish it lined up, but that's just the way wallpapers work in the Sims 4. I think that's like always the frustration of many builders, is that you can't get a lot of the wallpapers to work, especially on corners and on walls. But I really wanted to use this particular wallpaper. It came with Get Together. I've never used it before. It's one of the like Tudor ones. It's been a while since I've done a Tudor build, so I'm really happy that I can do one this time. So yeah, this is the main bedroom. This is also where we have like a bathroom. Now that I think about it, that bathtub probably doesn't work with Off the Grid. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I just thought that a bathtub in the bedroom felt really medieval, and I felt like it felt very appropriate for a witch. So I just put that there. I'm sorry if it isn't functional. You can just put in like a bathtub or a shower from either your outdoor retreat or I believe Strangerville outside, and it should compensate for the lack of a bathtub. I mean, there's also a sink downstairs, so if you really need to take care of your hygiene, you can always use that sink. I know that that sink from Laundry Day is in fact functional, so yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that vines that I put on that closet. I thought that looked really, really good. Once again, it's from Debug. Like, so many of these plants and flowers are from Debug. They just look so, so good. One thing that really bothered me about this room, I love this room. I used that Van Gogh bed. I really, really love that bed. But one thing that really bothered me about this room is that the lighting is outdoor lighting. Even when I replaced the roof texture to this thatched one, the lighting on the upstairs level is outdoor lighting, and that kind of wasn't consistent with the rest of the house, so that kind of bothered me a bit, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just happy that I got to build that area. It's fully functional, so really, really love how it looked. But now we are looking at the footage of my first attempt at doing this landscaping, and to be honest, I'm really, really glad this was the footage that I got to keep, because as you guys can see, look at what I'm doing right now. It's so tedious, and it's impossible to recreate this exactly the same, because I'm putting everything basically using the Alt key and using the 9 key to raise everything up, and it's so tedious. It took me forever. You guys probably don't notice it, but this footage that you're looking at right now of me placing these like vines, it's actually much faster than the rest of the speed build. So yeah, but I'm really, really happy with the way that looked. After I did that, this build ended up looking so similar to another build I did a very, very long time ago, like 4 years ago. It was the Veronaville Cafe in Windenburg when Get Together first came out. I did like a Veronaville Cafe, and it also had that same like vine technique using the bushes from Builds by Mode, and it was also like a Tudor build, so that was kind of like a low-key reference to that build I did ages ago. I love these fences. These are from Outdoor Retreat. I've been planning on using these in some of my builds for the longest time, and I'm so happy I got to use them here because they just look so, so perfect. I'm also using some trees as well. A lot of the trees I use here are ones that I've used before. Most of them are either from base game or from Get Together. So yeah, and I'm just really, really proud of this landscaping, to be honest. Yeah, the entire build may not be my first attempt at doing it, but landscaping wise, I think it's still worth it to watch this build, because I just feel like this build is still gonna be super enjoyable, even if I only included the landscaping, if you guys get what I mean. So I'm really, really happy with this landscaping. I just went for like something that was very Fairytale-esque and something that was very magical, definitely very Ghibli inspired. So yeah, a lot of you probably recognize some of the iconic features from some other like photos that you've seen online. And then we are working on this kind of like backyard area. Basically, this is kind of like an extension of the garden. So I'm going to be putting in some planter boxes in here, as well as like a little laundry area. But yeah, I put that well that is from Get Famous. It's not a functional well, but I really like the way it looks. We have a couple in game, but that's the one that I thought really worked for the aesthetic that I wanted to go for in this build. And of course, I'm putting in some planter boxes, which will be planted with some seasonal appropriate crops. And also I'm going to be putting in a beehive in this as well. I don't think I got to record that part, but here we're just detailing a little bit more of the landscaping. But other than that, I think that's going to be pretty much it for this build. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and send some love for all of the stress that I got because of this build. No, I'm just kidding. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I definitely think it's well worth all of the misery that I had to go through just to put this out. But yeah, having said that, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up my commentary right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You all have an awesome day, enjoy the rest of the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye!